wanted to know if maybe you wanted to go out. I'm going out with a girl tonight, and she's beautiful, and everybody's in love with her, and she's going out with me.
Just want you to get off the dime and think about your future.
She's beautiful, and obviously in the middle of some emotional shootout to consent to date the human tater tot.
This is 1987. Did you know that a girl can be whatever she wants to be?
I know, my mom's a plumber.
I'd recommend you keep your eyes and your mind off my property.
Cut it out.
Why don't you mind your own business?
Really, it must be a drag to be a slave to the male sex drive.
I didn't say anything about sex.
Oh, want to start a book club with her?
Anytime somebody from the outside lifts a woman from a quat like Jen's, man, we could all find cause to rejoice.
You walking on me, where are you going to go?
I want to show this girl that I'm as good as anybody else.
I know how you feel.
You've been in love before.
There's a lot of things you don't know about me.
He got a shot to be the first guy in his family who didn't have to wash his hands after a day's work.
Break his heart and break your face. Do you miss me, Keith? Do you miss not being around me?
This isn't the third grade anymore.
Oh, you're only 18 years old.
Then I'm 19, then I'm 20. When does my life belong to me?
Hello, hello. I'm Katie, and welcome to RetroMade, your pop culture rewind. Today, we're heading back to 1987, one of my favorite 80s years, for some kind of wonderful JohnHughes gender-flipped spin on the Pretty in Pink formula. It's got unrequited love, drum solos, diamond earrings, big in Hughes films, and the classic Hughes mix of angst and heart. We'll dig into the movie, the music, the era, when every teen in America was just trying to figure out who they really belonged with. And I'm very happy to welcome back to the show returning guest Steve Smith from Men of Action and Dropping a Bruce podcasts. Did I get that right, Steve?
That's correct. Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to the show. What can we look forward to? What's upcoming on your shows?
Well, the Men of Action podcast is I co-host with Scott Kay of the Church of Tarantino podcast. It's a ever-evolving thing within action. So currently, we are looking at the mission itself. So we're doing men on a mission movies, or men or women. Men or women on a mission.
Okay. I like it.
We're concentrating, rather than the film itself, because, you know, a lot of these films have been discussed a million times. So we're kind of looking at it from the mission perspective. You know, who's in on the mission? Is the mission a good idea? Is it likely to be successful? So we do discuss towards the end of the episode. We get more into the nuts and the bolts of the film itself, but we're sort of, like I say, we're digging a bit deeper into the mission itself of the movies. And the Dropping a Bruce podcast, we are nearing the end.
Really?
Yeah. So there's been I think there's, of the straight to video or straight to streaming Bruce Willis movies, there's roughly 40, I think. So I think we've just recorded the 33rd episode. So
you are nearing the end.
We're nearing the end, and I must confess, it's been a slog. It's been heavy going.
I bet. Now remind listeners why that is, what the story is with Dropping a Bruce. The name sort of implies it, but.
So that was Scott's idea to do this. And much like I was saying about the Men on a Mission movies, is we didn't want to talk about Die Hard and all the films that everyone knows so well. So Bruce Willis did a large quantity of straight-to-video movies. And it's difficult because we didn't, at the time, a lot of us didn't really know, why is he making these crappy movies? But then his illness became apparent, or his condition became apparent, his aphasia. And that news broke just when we decided to do the show. And we thought that would be incredibly bad taste for us to do it now. But over time, we thought, well, no, there's a way to do this. You know, we're not going to tear these movies apart and make fun of them. We just want to review them as we would any other movie. So we found an angle to do it respectfully. And obviously, we hadn't seen any of these movies, so we didn't really know what to expect. And we've had a good time. It's been tough at times, you know.
Yeah.
These are quite. A lot of these films are pretty low budget, filmed by, at times, rather inept people. And as we've come to realize, Bruce Willis has been exploited rather a lot.
Yeah, it's really sad.
And finding out just how ruthless a lot of these producers and money guys really were, because there's no way it couldn't. They were aware of Bruce's condition and situation, and they've severely taken advantage of him. But we address that, but we try and have fun, and we kind of we discuss the cast and who kind of rises to the occasion and who doesn't, and we do it respectfully. But movies are movies, and some suck, some films surprise you, some disappoint you, and we approach it that way. But yeah, like I say, we're now coming towards the end, and it's been a rocky road.
Maybe it's welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the end of a marathon race where you can see the line and you're just like, I just need to get there.
Well, you guys are respectful and you do a good job. I guess what's always perplexed me about the straight to video, straight to stream, like this, and straight to streaming might be a little different, but especially back in the day, the straight to video market, like who? I don't understand. Is this like a money laundering?
Well, that's what we've come to. You can really dig up a bit of dirt on some of these producers. They're pretty ruthless guys, and they're just, they're making these movies for $15 million apparently. A lot of the time. Bruce gets like $1 million a day, apparently.
But how do they make money? I mean,
this is what we're saying.
The money laundering aspect.
Look, basically, they pay Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is clearly on this movie set for a day, right? So where's the other $14 million? Because the movies, to hazard a guess, I would say these movies probably cost about $2 million
to make.
2 to
okay,
3.
yeah.
So there's some shenanigans afoot. there's some stuff going on. We've tried to dig up. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time you can't even find the info on the budgets of these movies, So it's pretty shady business going on. And they're, I'm sure Bruce Willis isn't the only people they're exploiting, whether they're in on the sex trade or the drug trade or whatever. But there's some shady shenanigans going on, and we try and address that, and we dig up what we can information-wise, but it's difficult a lot of the time.
Sure.
But a lot of the time, you do manage to get a couple of decent guest stars. You get John Malkovich and Michael Rooker were in the one we just discussed, and you get Thomas Jane, you get all kinds of people, sort of John Cusack. You get all these people just showing up, probably as a favour to Bruce, perhaps, and out of respect to help him out. And I'm sure a lot of the money Bruce has been making has been to pay for his health bills, I guess. But it's murky, to say the least. But it's been an interesting journey. It's been an interesting journey.
Well, I would recommend everyone head on over to Dropping a Bruce to check more of what Steve and I have been talking about. And also their Men of Action podcast is really fun. I mean, that's the 80s and 90s.
I must say, Scott does a lot of the heavy lifting. I call him the head honcho, really, because he knows a lot more on that side of things than me. So I've got to give him a shout out because he does a lot of the hard work. But we have a great time. You guys are an interesting duo, yeah. Yeah, and we've got the British and the American. He's ex-military as well, so he can shed a lot of light on things. But we just kind of had a good chemistry when we first initially started talking, and I'm just kind of like, Scott, whatever you want to do, I'll just team up with you, and we'll just have some laughs. We try and, some movie podcasts can be a bit academic. Some can be a little bit too much of just a lark. So we try and meet it in the middle, and we're like, we'll give you the the details and the knowledge, but we also we like to have some fun too.
Of course, so that's the whole point. Yeah.
If you love movies, you should give us a listen, because you'll learn a bit, hopefully, and you'll have some laughs, and that's what we try to do, you know.
Perfect. Well, the shtick that RetroMade has is we spin a wheel and do some trivia from the year the movie we're about to discuss came out. So just kind of get us in that feeling. So without further ado, let's open the time capsule from 1987. And I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, I'm going to spin on your behalf.
Okay.
See what category we get for 1987. Oh, can Steve come out to play? Okay, there's a couple giveaways, like easy ones. We'll start with that. Well, released slightly earlier, this animatronic doll with a plush body and moving mouth, which reads stories from cassette tapes, was one of the most sought after toys of the 1987 holiday season. What was the toy?
This is a tough one for me. Is it a teddy bear?
Yep, you're on the right track.
Is it Teddy Ruxpin? No?
It is.
Yes,
it is. Yeah, good job.
Well, thanks.
All right, now, what toy known for its soft, rubbery, and tactile feel was invented in 1987 and became a smash hit in the following year? I think it really blew up in the early 90s, too. You know, it takes a while. I remember having these.
Cabbage Patch Kids?
You know, it's like an inanimate, it's not like a doll or a bear or anything.
Okay. Oh.
Soft, rubbery, tactile feel. And then it became a smash hit.
That's like a toy. I'm drawing a blank on this one.
You may not know this because you're in the UK, but here, if anybody ever watched the Rosie O'Donnell show, she used to fling these into the audience on her show.
No, I'm sorry.
The koosh ball. Are you familiar with the koosh ball?
I have no idea. I've never even heard that.
Okay, maybe it was just in America. You guys have to remember the koosh ball. All right, let's go to another category. Let's see here if we can find something interesting. Totally tasty. This would be like snacks and food and drinks and stuff.
American foods.
All right, I'll give you an easy one. I don't know, maybe not. Well, there's a few that are pretty easy. In 1987, this brand launched a new orange-flavored monster cereal that featured the character Yummy Mummy. I imagine it's in the same, like with Count Chocula, Boo Berry, like those. I'm imagining.
Okay. So it's a brand.
Mm-hmm, it's a brand of cereal.
We never had any of those over here.
Didn't you? Okay.
No.
It's one of the big two here.
Then what is there, like Nestle? Is that a brand? Is that kind of what we would?
It is, but it's, yep. So
Kellogg's? No.
It's the other big one. Kellogg's is one of the big ones. It's the other one.
That's the only two I can think of. Kellogg's.
Give up?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I'm sorry.
General Mills? Are you familiar with that cereal brand?
It.
No? Okay. No. It's like the other one. Kellogg's and General Mills are probably the two big
they're
ones.
the big two. Big two.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
No worries.
That's a new one on me.
You might. Okay. While launched earlier, the recipe for this Hershey's candy bar was changed in 1987 to add a chewy caramel, but making it very popular. It had a very random name. What was the name of this candy bar?
American candies, like a chocolate bar with caramel.
I would say the most unique thing about it is its name. Kind of like a hodgepodge of things where it's, if you're trying to think of something, you're like, oh, blank.
This is going to kill me. I can't think for the life of me.
Well, this isn't fair because these probably, you didn't have this in the UK.
No. Although the funny thing is, whenever I have been to the States, and I've obviously, like the Three Musketeers bar, or stuff like that you hear about in a movie. You think, if I ever go to America, I'm going to try one of those. And then when you do, you're like, oh, that's exactly the same as something else from the UK. It's not like some exotically weird thing that we don't have. It's just something we have with a different name. So
exactly. And there are probably some things that are unique to us and vice versa. But I will say it's not like a well-known one. It's like way down the list of popular. I don't even know if they make it anymore, to be honest with you, but I haven't bought a candy bar in like 20 years, so I don't. It's the whatchamacallit.
I was going to say thingamabob, but then I don't know if...
Same. I mean, it's
pretty much the same thing. I should have said it, but I was a bit like, is that even a thing? I don't know.
Well,
if
it
use
is.
That phrase in America. Or...
Yeah. Whatchamacallit, thingamabob. So the whatchamacallit candy bar.
I'd have been wrong anyway, so... But no, I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Well, you might actually get this one. I feel like this maybe transcends oceans. In 1987, Ben & Jerry's introduced this flavor named after the band Grateful Dead's lead guitarist, marking the first time they named a flavor after a musician. So you're familiar with Ben & Jerry's ice cream?
I am. I'm trying to think of the Grateful Dead's singer. And
it's a rhyme with his name. Like it's a play on his name and it rhymes.
Yeah, I'm not going to look it up because that's cheating, isn't it, Steve?
No cheating on the RetroMade
on this show. So I'm going to have to say I have no idea. Well, I know when you say it, I'm going to be like...
it. Yeah, I know it. It is Cherry Garcia is the name of the ice cream.
Jerry Garcia.
Yeah.
I think I'm just on the spot. I'm just a bag of nerves, Kate. I'm just falling apart.
Also, let's find you a category that's more fair. Like the things that are like cultural to America, it's not fair to ask. Let's see if stars and scandals. How do you think you're going to do with the stars and scandals portion? Celebrity gossipy stuff.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. Give it up. I'll give it my best.
I think these are easier, but you never know. Okay.
Yeah.
This popular televangelist was forced to resign from his ministry, PTL, after it was revealed he paid a former church secretary over $200,000 in hush money following a sexual encounter in 1980. Who was this televangelist? Disgraced.
Well, televangelist. Again, not something we really had in the UK.
But I feel like you'll know it. There's always kind of a joke about his wife. It's like this person, it's like blank and blank last name. And the wife is known for wearing like clownish makeup. I don't know if that's helping at all.
No. Yeah, that's a bit...
This one's probably the hardest one. So it is Jim Baker. So remember Jim and Tammy Baker? Was it Tammy Faye?
Don't know him. I'm sorry. I'm not too good at these.
No worries. In America, does anybody remember this? I mean, I was a kid, but I still remember like it was in the ether of pop culture for a long time. This 1980s heartthrob was arrested in April of 87 after punching a film extra on the set of the movie Colors, leading to a 60-day jail sentence.
That can only be Sean Penn.
It is Sean Penn. See? They're getting easier.
Yeah. Actor punching someone, Sean Penn. That's what I'm saying. If I had to name the movie, I'd have probably guessed Sean Penn.
There's probably been several that have punched people, but this one's from Famous.
Yeah, that was like that's one of his favorite pastimes.
Let's see. Who is the actor who in 1987 was involved in a fatal car crash that killed 2 women? Actually, I think it was a mother and a daughter, but...
I'm trying to think. An actor who's...
And he was...
Was he a young... Well, no, he would have been young. Obviously.
He was very young at the time.
It's not Matthew Broderick, is it?
It is Matthew Broderick, yes.
Ah, yeah. I didn't know the ins and outs, so to speak, but I knew he'd been involved in something like that.
I feel like I didn't hear about that at the time, but I've since learned that.
I didn't know it was that early on.
He was dating Jennifer Grey at the time from Dirty Dancing.
Ah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
But for some reason I had it in my head that would have been later in his career.
He certainly recovered well from it.
Not his career of having car accidents. I mean his acting career. But I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that was that early for him.
All right, last one. I think you'll get it because you should get it.
Okay.
This female recording artist became a major tabloid fixture after her husband assaulted a songwriter at a Los Angeles club, leading to his arrest and eventual jail time.
Sean Penn again, is it?
Yeah, but who was he married
Madonna?
to? Yes,
Madonna?
yes, yep, Madonna.
Who knew that wasn't going to work? You know, surely a match made in heaven.
It was. Well, thank you for playing. That concludes this segment of the time capsule.
The beads of sweat are forming on my head here. I'm shaking like a leaf.
Well, shall we, without further ado, get into the movie, Some Kind of Wonderful?
Let's.
This came out February 27th, 1987. It's PG-13.
My birthday.
Is it?
Yeah, I did not know that.
You were close to being, was it a leap year, your year? Could you have been a leap year baby?
No.
Okay. The IMDb rating, it's a 7 out of 10, which is pretty high, don't you think?
That's pretty good.
Like on IMDb, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good rating.
I think so. Now, the director here is not John Hughes. It's Howard Deutsch. Are you familiar with Howard Deutsch at all?
I wasn't actually till I looked him up, and he directed. Did he direct Pretty in Pink?
Yes, and also The Great Outdoors, other John Hughes movies.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, apparently Martha Coolidge was originally hired, and she cast a different Amanda Jones. She cast Kim Delaney as Amanda Jones and Kyle MacLachlan, that's hard to say his last name, as Hardy Jens. So when Coolidge dropped out, I guess, before filming was to begin, Howard Deutsch replaced her, and he also replaced Leah Thompson, who ends up playing Amanda Jones, and Craig Sheffer to play Hardy Jens. I think that was the right move. Good on you, Howard Deutsch.
Yeah, I thought Craig Sheffer. I'd be jumping too far ahead. Really,
no, go ahead.
But I always thought he was a bit more of a tough guy. So when we get to the party, I always feel like he would have punched you.
Well, I guess
I
we're
know
supposed to.
That's kind of like what you usually get in that kind of movie. I almost feel like, I'm not saying he's miscast, because he plays a pretty good douchebag.
Dick.
I think.
Yeah.
But that's one of the minor niggles for me. Is like,
Okay.
I don't really buy that you wouldn't have punched Eric Stoltz.
Well, they did kind of turn it on its head, because the whole trick or the whole ruse was so that Hardy and his guys could beat Keith up.
Yeah.
And so it's turned on its head a little bit when Keith is the one who punches first.
Yeah.
And then I guess I guess I kind of liked it. Didn't go as we normally expect it to go.
No. Well, there's quite a lot about, as we'll discuss, there's quite a lot in this movie that is kind of unusual, a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what gives it it's got a solid reputation, I think, because of that.
Yes.
And
agreed.
I mean, I remember Leah Thompson. I mean, I was 15 years old. I had a major crush on her.
Miss Amanda Jones.
Amanda Jones, but obviously, this is obviously post Back to the Future.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's where I knew her from.
She was in Howard the Duck. Did you see that?
Do you know what? I must confess, I consider myself a cinephile, but I have things I've missed, and Howard the Duck may be one of them.
I don't know why when I was a kid I wanted to rent that all the time when we would go to the video store, and I honestly can't remember anything from it. I'm sure it's the worst thing ever because, yeah. Did you ever see her TV show, though? Caroline in the City, that she had in the 90s?
No, I was not aware of that. I don't think.
I ran for several seasons. She was like was she a cartoonist, I want to say, or something?
No, not familiar with that, but I remember the video box to this particular movie, and she was like, oh, Lee Thompson.
So you very much enjoyed the completely unnecessary, like, sexual nature of her posing in the locker room for absolutely no reason, except for a young Steve Smith.
It's embedded in my memory. But I mean, Mary Stuart Marston as well. She's cute as a button. I mean,
I was going to ask you, she's like flawless looking. I mean, I know we'll get to her. She plays the tomboy, quote unquote, but I think she's just as pretty, if not prettier, than Amanda Jones. Like this Watts character
is certainly equal, and you may be right, but I just remember having a major crush on Leah Thompson because of Back to the Future, and I think Mary Stuart Masterson, I don't know, I'm trying to think of other films I would have seen her in.
Benny and June and Fried Green Tomatoes were probably her biggest ones, and I really feel like she should have had a bigger career than she did. She was really good in this too.
Yeah, speaking of Sean Penn, she was in a film called At Close Range.
Okay.
That's Christopher Walken and Sean Penn. I think that's a kind of a dark crime drama family thing.
Okay.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Recommend. I think Madonna did the song for it.
Okay.
Live to Tell.
Ooh,
Madonna's
okay.
Live to Tell is from that movie. But that is the only other movie I think I know her from.
You didn't see Fried Green Tomatoes?
No.
It's good. It's very good.
I'm sure it is. I'm a lot more open-minded than I used to be. I watch, most things now, but at that particular time, perhaps I was probably watching other stuff. But both the female leads in this are great. I mean, because again, there's so much to talk about here because I think Lee Thompson's character Amanda. Ultimately, I think you're supposed to think she's a bitch. Really, I think. I mean, initially, yeah, okay. You can. These films have been done before and since. Where he's he's not necessarily from the wrong side of the tracks. He's just.
I have questions about that.
Yeah, he's a bit of not an oddball either. He's just a bit of a.
He doesn't fit in anywhere.
He doesn't fit in. So you've got the guy doesn't fit in who falls in love with the popular princess of the school, and 9 times out of 10 she's a bit of a bitch, and he learns that because ultimately, although he ends up with what's her name? Watts. There's liars here. Because she's not a bitch, is she?
No, I actually don't think that we were ever meant to think she was a bitch, but she was the typical, like, she didn't, not that she was a bitch, but she was just like unaware. Like, she is in her own little world at this high school, and I guess we aren't shown that we're shown that the people she hangs out with are bitchy, and we find out like she's not wealthy like the rest of them.
Right.
And she has to do certain things to maintain her status with them. But yeah.
I think what I'm commenting on really is the kind of tropes of this sort of genre, is that she'll end up being a bitch and he'll go off with Watts at the end and live happily ever after.
Of course.
But she's not, but that's not what she is. She's not shallow. She's not a bitch. She's a sensitive girl, and she's been manipulated by this douchebag boyfriend. And so, yeah, because watching this again, made me think of all these sorts of films that were obviously hugely popular when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes how difficult it is to talk about, like when you have shown an interest in girls or boys or whoever you are, you know, how you kind of do learn from these sorts of movies, right? How, because, you know, we're all awkward teenagers and you don't know what to say to girls, and girls don't know how to act in front of boys, and there's all these, that's why these films exist, you know, but there's lessons in these, you know, I always think there's lessons in these movies, and, you know, I'm interested in girls, you can't talk to your friends about it, and you might feel awkward talking to your older brother about it. Not everyone's got that kind of squeaky clean family where, you know, you might feel a little bit awkward. And I think that might be a lot of why these, as solid entertainment, these films are great anyway. But I also think they're relatable. And, you know, you might watch these movies and you're kind of figuring out, who am I in this movie?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. There are definitely tropes to those. There's a formula of this kind of movie. I mean, JohnHughes literally used this is Pretty in Pink remade, but in my opinion, way better. But sometimes it's interesting, and we'll talk about. I'll back up in a minute and remind everybody what this movie is about, because it is a little lesser known of Hughes' catalog. I grew up watching it and loving it, and then I was kind of reminded pleasantly, because I hadn't seen it in a long time. I was pleasantly reminded why I liked it, and that it is a little different in a few ways from the standard formulaic. Yeah. The formula's all there. All the tropes are there. But in this movie, it was done in such a way that I invited it. Like I didn't roll my eyes at the tropes. Like I was totally there for it. For this. Well,
we like they're comforting, aren't they? The tropes. That's why we like what we like. You know, whether you like action movies or horror movies or anything. That's the things you like about them. But yeah, I don't know. It just made me think about within these films we're looking for ourselves in them a bit,
for sure.
And you know, when I was a teenager, when I think back now, obviously I think, man, you know, like, who would I have been in this situation? And you know, and you're kind of like living vicariously through these characters, because you've got even Elias Cote's character, the skinhead. I loved him.
Duncan.
He's awesome. Yeah. But that doesn't go where you think either.
No, it doesn't. There's so much about this movie that it's like,
although
flipping it a little.
Let's be honest, Elias Cote's looked about 50 years old in that movie.
I had this. Well, I have notes, but that was my first. I thought 35.
Well, no, I'm just being.
But yes, but also, yeah, I think also maybe partially why I liked it a little more is these people are straight up adults. Like, they do not look like teenagers.
Well, that's another thing I want to ask you as well this is a high school.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in the UK, we leave high school when we're 16.
In America, it's usually approximately 18.
Right, because they're driving cars and stuff. And in the UK, you don't learn to drive till you're 17. So, it's just that thing of like these people that got. I mean, there's obviously spoof movies that have commented on, you know, that they all look like adults, yet they're playing 15-year-olds or whatever it may be. Yeah, that was kind of, because that always was a bit of a puzzle, that you were like, well, don't they leave school when they're 16 as well? And but yeah, Elias Cote's character, because he's like the bully, right?
Well, at first,
he's
right?
Not,
like,
though, is he? No.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling there was probably scenes cut from this movie of him and Eric Stoltz becoming pals. I think they kind of, in detention, they clearly find common ground.
They allude to it. It
is alluded to.
Yeah, I mean, they don't spoon feed it to us, but you're right. There probably were longer. We're shown that they make a connection.
Because it does seem a little bit like, huh? What?
All of a sudden, they're friends.
So they're best pals.
I mean, and that's a trope too, the detention scene with especially the detention rejects, so to speak, the scene where we get like the ominous music and they're like shaving their face with a knife and this guy is ripping a book and breaking a pencil for absolutely no reason other than to show us how tough and intimidating they're shown to be criminals, but we're to believe they're high school kids, But I love, when the guy breaks the pencil, I don't know. I just was all there for it. Like, okay, clearly this, Eric Stoltz is supposed to be intimidated by this group.
Well, yeah, because he's drawing his little notepad and Elias Coates is cutting the desk and he rips the top off to show him. That's a funny little back and forth, and he's a great character in this.
He really was. Well, let's talk about.
It's just surprising, just how he turns into this lovable guy.
Well, and even some of his other friends. Yeah, lovable is a good way of putting it. So as we're talking about these characters and the people who play them, if you guys haven't seen Some Kind of Wonderful in a while, it is a quick little summary is Tomboy Watts, played by Mary Stuart Masterson. And we don't use that term anymore, I don't think, but they certainly did in 1987, Tomboy. So she discovers that her feelings for her best friend, Keith, run deeper than just friendship when he gets a date with the most popular girl in school. Unfortunately, the girl's old boyfriend, who is from the rich section of town, is unable to let go of her and plans to get back at Keith. So Eric Stoltz is playing Keith. What do you think of Eric Stoltz and how he played Keith here?
Other than the obvious, like Pulp Fiction, he's not someone I've particularly ever... He's cropped up in a few movies, but he's never really been a reason to watch the movie. Because obviously, as we know, he was supposed to be in Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the movie... He was obviously... His Back to the Future was... Once they got Michael J. Fox...
It was a different kind of movie.
I think that was... I wouldn't say darker, but I don't think that was as goofy a movie when he was involved. And that's why I think they looked at it and thought, this isn't working. And I don't think really that was probably his fault.
I agree.
But in this, I kind of like him. I think because he's not a weed. He's not a weedy guy. Like, who you just be like, oh, because as the viewer, I couldn't probably... I don't know if I'm being a dick here, but I'm just sort of like, I don't want to watch a movie about some weedy guy. You'd be like, come on, man, pull yourself together. And I don't want to wait 90 minutes for you to pull yourself together, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not a weed. The way that Craig Sheffer and his friends are what they're going to do, he couldn't possibly have really been aware of. But he stands up for himself. He's an individual. He's smart. And he's a nice guy. So I sort of like, well, no, you're just a nice guy. Really. He's not really a nerd in the negative sense.
No. He's just like a introverted, like artsy kid. But these characters, is he nice? It's like, it's always the nerdy person who doesn't fit in, who wants the hot girl. Well, so does everyone else. Why do you think, what makes you so much better equipped to be with her than anyone else? And we don't really... True. He draws her, so it's sort of like... And then they do the same thing. They're mad because they can't get the attention of the hot, pretty girl. Meanwhile, their best friend, the cute but not like overtly like sexualized girl, he does the same thing to her as he is being done to him. And then in these movies, so I always think like our protagonist, so to speak, is always a little, I don't know. Also, like Eric Stoltz, he had a career for a hot minute. I don't know what happened to him. And maybe it was, I don't know if he's problematic or what, but I was really impressed by all of the acting performances in this cast, really strong, I think, which elevates this movie over some of the other like carbon copy John Hughes movies. Right. But to me, honestly, Eric Stoltz as Keith was like the least impressive to me. He wasn't bad, but...
No, but I think the love triangle, I guess, is by design. I mean, that's the kind of point.
Right. Yeah.
I just felt, I guess, because we're all going to see things differently, and how can I put it? Like, I just liked what I liked about, not necessarily about Eric Stoltz himself, but his character, is that he is not a fool.
Good point. No, he goes into this totally knowing. Like, he at first thinks that it's not a joke, and then he learns it's a joke and does it anyway.
Yeah, but am I right? Lily Thompson's not in on it, is she?
She's not.
His little sister kind of. But his little sister has got his best interests at heart. She just misinterprets the situation that Lily Thompson is in on it. Because she's like, there's nothing wrong with her at all in this movie. Is that, like I say, when I watched it initially, I remember, even then I was like, oh shit, she's going to be the bitch. He's a wimp, and he's going to learn that he should have been with his best friend all along. But it's not that simple, because hey, it never is that simple, is it?
No.
But I don't know. He's not someone I'm overly keen on, or following this guy I just like that he's smarter than people think he is.
Good point. Yeah, and at first I wasn't, because I hadn't seen it so long. The opening, when we see him, like, he's a loner, he's like walking, playing chicken with the train, and at first I was like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, why are we shown that? And then he's like this sensitive, like, artsy type, but he works with his hands, like he comes from a working class family. But he's really dumb. We'll get into I don't want to get into this now, because I want to get through the cast, but the whole, like, using his college money, I'm like, what are we doing here?
I'm not sure about that. I'll give you that.
But so Leah Thompson originally turned this down when she was approached by Howard Deutsch, but then after Howard the Duck flopped, she accepted and thought, I better get my next project. Yeah. Now, when I was growing up, I didn't realize the connection between her name, Amanda Jones, and the song. I didn't make that connection.
I'm not sure I still do.
So the song Miss Amanda Jones, which is played during the movie, during her, it's like a montage of like her being beautiful and everything. So when I was little, I sort of thought it was written for the movie.
I still did till you now talking. So
it is from the Rolling Stones album. It's a song. Miss Amanda Jones is a song by the Rolling Stones from their 1967 album, Between the Buttons. The film's character name, Amanda Jones, was inspired directly by that song. Hughes, he's a lifelong, he's really into music, and he kind of uses it as like shorthand to set character and mood. And so he naming the film's love interest after the Stones song was completely intentional, and he meant it to give her this air of unattainable classic cool.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, because it's not the Rolling Stones song in the movie. Is it someone else singing it, or is it them?
There was like an alternative version I know that was on the soundtrack, and I guess I'm not certain who. It's probably the alternative version.
Look, because I thought there's a song about her that just almost sounded like Blondie to me. There's
I think it was a punk rock band. I can't recall now that covered it.
Yeah, but no, I didn't know. I assumed because of her name and the song using her name. I just assumed the song was written for the film.
Me too. Apparently it's a Rolling, and I'm a pretty big Rolling Stones fan. I had no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen this film twice.
Okay.
So when it kind of came out, and recently for this episode, age, I think my memory of films back then is pretty clear. I can remember when I saw this. Mm-hmm. I remember the film. It's quite interesting that, but that music, I just assumed that was written for the character. I didn't know that was a Rolling Stones song.
I learned that. I know I'm jumping around here, but speaking of the music, I usually talk about the composers of these, and there's some familiar names. The composition here, completely unfamiliar to me, but I do think that it is part of what sets Some Kind of Wonderful apart. So Stephen Hague who apparently worked with the Pet Shop Boys and New Order. He brought a sleek alt pop edge, while John Muser who's the like composition part. His score gave it some heart that in a big way. You definitely feel the musical cues in this. And so it feels more like underground and like more emotionally mature than a lot of the other John Hughes teen movies like this.
Not quite as manipulative, the score. It's kind of,
that's a good way of putting it.
It's not trying to lead you particularly. It's more of a vibe, and that's watching it again. I was kind of like, this is pretty smart. This movie.
It is. Yeah.
This is. They're very. I mean, that's John Hughes. They're very well written people. And
the characters. I agree. Yeah.
And there's fun, and it's not too, it's not too dark or anything. It's just this he's got this fantasy of who this girl is really, and his best friend. Personally, he couldn't have made a wrong move. Let's face it.
Yeah, and he's not bad looking, but he's not like the usual. We usually get like a more traditionally attractive.
Well, that's kind of what I was you probably hit the nail on the head there, because he's not traditionally handsome, but not many of us are. And
that's true. But usually in these movies, like the geek, so to speak, isn't ugly. Like under their glasses. It's kind of like
when you've got the girl, the plain Jane, and they're going to make her pretty, and you're like, she's pretty anyway.
Yeah, take the glasses off, and all of a sudden they're hot.
Suddenly she's so much like Clark Kent type situation. But he's maybe not traditionally a handsome guy, and I think that is probably what
more relatable.
Again, that's like someone like myself. I'm not Craig Sheffer, is what I'm saying. So. And I think that's what kind of makes it relatable is, I wasn't like, as a teenager, I wasn't like Keith. I liked art, but, that's neither here nor there. But
you didn't make an art painting and secretly put it in a museum for her to see later?
And I wasn't a mechanic. I didn't work as a petrol attendant. And
speaking of the petrol attendant, I was like, was that a thing? Like, it was a full service station. We don't have those here except for in certain states. And so maybe they did in 1987, but this was California 1987, and it was a full service gas station. I didn't know that was a thing.
That's just, again, this is all American fantasy to me. Was this stuff even real anyway? I don't know. That's completely a world away from living in, England in the 80s. That's a world away from our situation. And like I said, we all did this kind of thing where you've got the hots for some girl or guy, and they're not even going to give you a second look, and the torture, the turmoil, the teen angst that you feel because of it. So that's why we loved this stuff then, is because it was aimed at us.
It was.
And we were going through it, maybe less dramatically, or I never, got to, I never got with the high school queen and showed the bullies that I was, But
it's like what you wish you could do. It's like every.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, the hot girl gets with the hot guy, and you're the guy in the background. Like, my life sucks. That's how life works, isn't it? For the most part, and
so it's like fantasy.
It is a total fantasy, really, but. Then he doesn't take the fantasy route anyway. It doesn't go that way. And
that was on purpose because, like John Hughes wanted to correct what he did in Pretty in Pink, but yeah.
Yeah, because life's not like that. That's not how it works. We know that. We learn that. We find that out for ourselves, and it destroys us for, a couple of weeks maybe.
Oh my gosh, these high school movies. Off and the things that were so serious, like the fact that Hardy Jens like threatens Amanda, like making her, if you don't get back with me, I'm going to make this year hell. It's a
Hell
big deal.
for you.
Yeah. And he does. We see her
you
friends
know.
ice her out and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we see the stakes are so high for,
But for a teenager,
it is.
They were that high.
Yeah. It's wild.
Course,
that's why I was like, Keith, listen to your dad. Your dad has your best interest.
That's what we think now.
Yeah.
I am Keith's dad now.
And
from Beverly Hills.
Yes. Yeah. So
I think I've forgotten that as well.
The cat. He was Beverly Hills Cop, Midnight Run, and Gone Baby Gone also. Which
of course.
But so not Keith. Hardy Jones, which that's a wild name, is played by Craig Sheffer, and I loved Craig Sheffer in The Program. Did you ever see The Program? He plays like the star quarterback of whatever college.
No.
Oh, it's like one of my favorite sports movies of all time. It's about football.
I think I've even heard of it.
Oh, it's so good. Mid-90s. Yeah, so that's who I know him from. But a river runs through it, and then I guess he's in the One Tree Hill, or he was in the One Tree Hill TV show, which I never watched, but he kind of went away. I don't know what happened to Craig Sheffer, but he was like kind of a heartthrobby.
I know him from a couple of movies. He was in a horror movie called Nightbreed, which was Clive Barker who did Hellraiser. He was the lead in that, but that kind of didn't do very well. And he's in there's a really good movie called Fire in the Sky, which is based on a true story, like a UFO abduction.
Oh.
And I think there's a group of guys working in the forest on, timber and stuff. And they're driving home one night and they see a fire in the sky. And one of the guys gets out of the car and runs towards it. And they're like, no, don't go there. And he disappears for, I don't know, weeks or months. And then mysteriously shows up again and says, and this is based on a true story. It's quite a well documented abduction.
Oh, that does sound interesting.
It's really quite bizarre film, and he's in that, and I think he's like a bully in that. He's got that kind of swagger about him.
He does,
and that's why in this I'm a little bit. I guess that's with the knowledge of what he did later. I'm like, come on, man, Craig Sheffer would have kicked the crap out of you.
But he's supposed to be that like pretentious rich, like he's too good to lower himself to even take out the trash, so to speak. That's
me and Scott do this all the time. We do a little bit of fantasy filmmaking where I'm sort of like, let's be honest, James Spader should have played him in.
Well, he was in Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, I know, but that's my point. Really, is that's that character. Craig Sheffer, and
I see what you mean.
He
is more tough. I think he kind of pulls it off. He's like,
great in this movie, though.
I think he pulls it off. But I liked that he could beat the hell out of Keith, like physically. But he's like, my guys can do that for me.
Yeah, but that's the clever thing about the movie is Eric Stoltz as Keith. He probably would have got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
But that's going to make people hate you more than they already do if you beat me up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People, it's kind of one of them things where, I've seen this in other movies where Eric Stoltz is manipulating the situation in his way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll beat you. I'm smarter than you. You're just a sleazebag who thinks everyone loves you, but everyone hates you anyway. And if you do this, I'll let you do this. Do you know what I mean? It's not even, I don't even need to win this punch up or fight.
That's a good point.
Because I win either way.
True. But do you also think maybe he had a little extra confidence knowing that Elias, is it Elias or Elias? Elias Koteas's character and his crew come to save the day. Does he know?
Yeah. I see where you're coming from, but I ultimately think I don't think Eric Stoltz really cares if he gets beat up.
Yeah, both can be true.
Yeah, but I think he's a bit like, I'm going to stand up to you, because I've been in situations like that myself with bullies, where I'm like, yeah, you're a bully and you're tougher than me, but I'm not scared of you.
I see. I would be. I'd be like, don't beat me up.
It doesn't matter that I'm scared of you or that you're tougher than me. But if I don't stand up for myself, what am I?
True. I mean, and that's
these are the things. But these
lessons.
I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about in
when you're a kid.
When you're a kid, you're like, I don't care because I'll brush myself off and I'll get on with it. But I'm not going to back down and be a wuss. These are the things. In them times, but I guess in more hysterical, sensitive times of now, you couldn't even make a film like this.
Oh, there are a lot
there's
of...
a particular scene that makes when she's with the headmaster.
Yes.
And she's flirting with the headmaster, where I'm like, people would be losing their minds over this now.
I actually kind of forgot. I was like, oh my God, is she? And oh my God. So you guys, if you don't remember the scene, Amanda straight up, like very suggestively flirts. I don't know how else to describe it with, I guess, the Mr. Whoever, who's in charge of detention for that week or that day, the driver's ed teacher, to get out of detention. She like pulls his tie and is touching him, flirty.
Yeah. Telling him she likes his hair because he's bald. So that's quite funny. It was balding.
And it works. She gets out of detention like that. Like,
yeah.
Gross.
But it is very sort of like, you couldn't do that now.
No. And Watts wouldn't be, they punch down at her being not like traditionally
a
feminine.
Girl.
Yeah. Well, so Elias Koteas, I loved him in this. He plays Duncan. Great. I guess he was discovered by John Hughes auditioning for another John Hughes movie, She's Having a Baby.
That's
with Kevin Bacon. Yep, yeah. And it was his suggestion that he would be cast in the role of Duncan. And I guess Elias Koteas studied acting under Peter Masterson, who is Mary Stuart Masterson's dad.
Ah, interesting. Yeah.
And you guys, he's a super familiar face. Like The Thin Red Line, the movie Shooter, and he was uncredited in She's Having a Baby. What do you know him from? I can't name things. I'm just like, oh, I know him.
Do you know what? I saw him in a film called... I think the first film I saw him in was in a film called... Well, apart from this, one of the first times I saw him was a film called The Prophecy with Christopher Walken. Kind of a horror. Virginia Madsen's in it as well. Kind of like the angels coming down to take this baby from this woman because they think that's going to end the war between heaven and hell. It's all very... Viggo Mortensen's in it as well.
Oh, I can't believe I haven't seen this.
It's good, but I was thought at that point when I saw him in The Prophecy, which got about 4 sequels that you don't want to watch.
Okay.
Just track down The Prophecy because it is a little bit of a gem. But I just thought he looked like Robert De Niro.
He does have that look.
Sort of.
Like Taxi Driver Robert in this.
Yeah. He's got that vibe about him. But
yeah.
The Prophecy is a really good little movie, actually, and that's been sort of reevaluated in time. That's kind of got a bit of a status now. That's where I remember him from. In his late he was in the David Fincher movie about the Zodiac.
Okay, yeah.
So he's in that. I mean, it's not a big role, but there's only a couple of big roles in that movie. But he's in that. He's a character actor, right? He never really. He didn't elevate to become a lead, I don't think. But he's a solid character actor.
Super, super solid. He was probably one of my favorite characters.
Tons of movies, really.
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of the people in this, like I said, I really enjoyed the performances. Even tertiary characters, like Shane is the best friend of Amanda. She's played by Molly Hagan. She's a very familiar face, but she's kind of one of those. She's been in a few longtime TV series that I was unfamiliar with. But I was sort of like, God, why do I know her? Why does she look so familiar? It is because I'm a big Golden Girls fan, and she was in one episode of The Golden Girls where she plays the bitchy daughter of Rose's boyfriend and is trying to break them up.
Who among us doesn't love The Golden Girls?
Right? It is so good.
I'll sing the theme tune if you want, but you might have to edit it out.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
I couldn't find the guy's name, but the gingerhead. Well, not
Scott Coffey, Ray.
He's in a lot of them kind of movies.
He was really good in this too. Like he
had some funny lines in this.
Yes. Oh my God. So Ray, played by Scott Coffey, who you've seen him, but he's not well known. He's the guy that Watts like uses to try to make Keith
flirt.
Jealous.
Yeah.
What were the lines? He's like, do you know how much damage we could do to each other in an hour?
That was
and
it.
She's like, that's revolting. And he's like, what does revolting mean? So there were a lot of funny bits like that in this.
It's all, I always found it as humorous. It's not laugh out loud funny. Mm-hmm. It's more, it's like subtle humor and not, just not over the top giggles as such. It's just kind of like, it's just fun, but in a more subtle way. I just think it's not a comedy, is it?
No, it's a drama, but I mean, it's very well written. And John Hughes, I think, showed up for this. Sometimes, I mean, as I've seen in a few of my recent episodes, like I was like, what's going on here? But this, I feel like he really showed up. Even the sister, so there's a couple sisters that Keith has. Laura, like the middle sister, is played by Maddie Corman. And she's a working character actress.
I recognized that, but I'm not sure from what.
She's got a few recurring shows on. Mr. President was a late 80s show. All American Girl was a mid 90s show. I'm not familiar with them. I did see that she was in 3 episodes of Law and Order playing 3 different characters. You know how shows like that will reuse people?
Just put her in a wig.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's Maddie Corman. The mom is played by Carol Nelson. And I didn't recognize her at all, but she is apparently an extremely well-known soap actress. General Hospital and Days of Our Lives, which I've
heard of.
What did you think of Candace Cameron in this, playing the littlest sister?
She was great.
So great.
For all her little knowledge facts. She was brilliant.
Like, it was a strange... Again, all the characters kind of had something.
Have their moment.
Yeah, and her character trait was like, what would you say? She's 8, maybe? I don't know. How old do you think she...
Yeah, roughly around that.
So she had some, like, her vocab and intellect were like that of a college professor. Yeah. But it's funny because it's coming out of an 8-year-old's mouth. And she delivers... I mean, she was really good. I think...
Natural, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, high praise. And I usually don't like kids in movies, but it's clear why she went on to become a successful child actor.
Right. Yeah. No. From the start of the movie, I was like, "Oh, she's funny." But again, it's done in a more of a quirky way. She's just got these factoids in her head that she's just.
This is a well-balanced meal. I think I'm missing one of the major food groups or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, she was great too.
Did you recognize China Phillips from Wilson Phillips in this? Did you know who her character was?
No.
I knew she was in this, and then I had kind of forgotten when I was watching to look for her. This was one of her earliest film appearances, predating her like Wilson Phillips from the 90s music career.
Yeah.
And famously, China Phillips is the daughter of John and Michelle Phillips, the Mamas and the Papas music group.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, also about her, I didn't realize this, but she has been married to Billy Baldwin since 1995. They're still married.
Wow.
So she has a name, I guess. Her name is Mia in this, and she plays the blonde girl that we see Hardy like cheating on Amanda with.
Yes.
That's who she plays.
By the lockers.
Yes.
Yes.
We see her a couple times. Mm-hmm. And then the museum guard is played by Carmine Caridi, who is also a familiar character actor. So the museum guard is also apparently Duncan's dad. That was kind of a fun, and that's how Duncan gets him access to the museum, right. For the big date. And he was in both The Godfather 2 and The Godfather 3, but in different roles.
I didn't get time, but I recognize him from something else, and it's been driving me absolutely nuts. So I'll have to study up on him because he's been in a lot of things.
He has. I never watched the TV show Fame, but he played Angelo in that.
That might be where I recognized him from.
And also, I don't know if you ever watched NYPD Blue.
Bruno's dad. Was that Bruno's?
I don't know.
Fame? I think that might be. Now you've said it, that's all coming.
Yeah, I didn't watch that, but he played Detective Vince Gotelli on NYPD Blue also.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be from that. That might very well be from Fame.
Fame. Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Which was about roughly the same time, the TV show anyway.
Good
I
point.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mid-'80s, yeah. Even the gym teacher, I was like, God, who is she?
The woman.
She's played by Lee Garlington.
Right.
That's her name.
I know a few things
that
she's been... Right. So she is the one of the villains from Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh.
Right. She's a good cop gone bad.
Oh,
and she does
yes,
the same.
yes.
And she does when they're at the school. And she's pretty much does the same thing in the Stallone movie Cobra.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Because he catches her at the payphone where she's telling them where they're going to be. Now.
Blonde.
And
yeah.
And in the first episode, I believe, of Seinfeld, she's the waitress who gives George coffee with caffeine in it.
I don't remember that.
Because he says, I can't drink caffeinated
coffee. Okay.
I think because George says something, you're a waitress, and she's go, how did you notice, George? She says something like that. She's kind of like this quippy waitress. So she's the waitress in the first episode of Seinfeld. So,
well, that would track because she has 236 acting credits. So she's got a very familiar face. And a lot of her work is in like an episode or two here and there of like well-known TV shows. And some of her longer running roles were Everwood and the show Townies and the show Lenny. So I haven't seen any of those. And then she was the angry PTA mom in Field of Dreams too. But yeah, Lee Garlington, super familiar. Everybody really brought it.
As soon as I saw her, I was like, I know her. Yeah, she plays a crooked cop.
Yes, the Cobra. Yes.
And the waitress in Seinfeld.
Yeah, that's her.
She's great. Actually, and at first, that's kind of a shame she didn't stay in Seinfeld because she was great. She's only in it for 2 minutes.
Yeah, they could have had her be like the waitress.
They were always in that
cafe.
diner.
Yeah.
She could have been like another little character because she's in it for less than 2 minutes, really. But everything she says, she's really sarcastic and just shut up. She's just, and because I think she later says to George, "No, I didn't really give you decaf," and he freaks out because he's so neurotic, isn't he? Yeah. She's good in this. Yeah, she's good in this too. But like you say, everyone's got their moment, and everyone's memorable.
Yeah, I liked them. I guess you find something to like in everybody, except for Hardy, because we're meant to even the opening scene, and I'm like, we're not supposed to believe this guy's in high school, are we? With his like blazer jacket and his sports car. Yeah. I feel like a lot of these people, I'm like, what was the costuming? Because I feel like people were dressed as if they were adults with a mortgage. Like this, like short, even like Leah's.
Yeah, that's very conservatively sort of dressed, aren't they? Apart from Watts, kind of all punk rock, but that's, but yeah, that 80s kind of pastel-y vibe. That's just not anything relatable to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was the preppy look because they were supposed to be like the rich kids, but then even Leah, I'm like, no one's wearing that on a date. You look like you're going to the office.
Well, I did actually think one thing about Leah Thompson. She did have 40-year-old mum's hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's got that really kind of very
puffy, poofy,
square kind of look to her. I was a bit like, it's a bit weird.
But apparently that was supposed to be very luxurious, and that was
I guess like obviously in Back to the Future, she's got like the 50s kind of look. But when I watched it the other night, I was like, yeah, she looks really quite square, actually.
Yeah, she wore the 50s hair too, because we covered her because she played the mom on the Dennis the Menace episode. Yep, JohnHughes wrote that too.
Okay, yeah.
So, but this is like her early career. Like she's playing, like she's the sought after popular girl. She did win a Young Artist Award for this role,
right.
I guess.
Yeah, she was in All the Right Moves, the film.
I'm not certain.
Am I right?
But because this is a drama, it offered more introspective. It had that tone than a lot of the other teen movies of this time. And I guess a lot of them were comedies, so to be fair. But it feels like cooler and like less mainstream. especially than like Pretty in Pink. And there was like a lot of like emotional tension, but also heartfelt moments. And I don't know,
I think
it lent itself to more realism.
Keith's dad and Keith both have a couple of blow up moments where because he's obviously angry at his son for not taking college, the prospects of going to college seriously, and then Keith is angry that his dad doesn't trust him and that he doesn't know what he's doing. And I did like that there was a bit of weight to them moments where dad's like, you should be taking this seriously and you've blown all your money. And Keith's like, I know what I'm doing. You never listen to me. All them, there was some real, I felt it quite well. And I don't know, Eric Stoltz, I kind of like what he does in this movie.
It's very understated. Like also Watts is just shown to be tortured emotionally throughout the whole movie. Yeah. And I think she does that well.
Yeah, no, she's great in this. And he probably should have ended up with her, I think.
Well, to your point about him saying to his dad, trust me, I've got this. No, he doesn't. He blew his college money. What was this plan? I didn't understand. That argument was confusing and confounding to me because I'm like, first of all, because his dad's like, you don't need to spend a bunch of money to try and impress this girl. But it was both that he spent a lot of money on the date, but also he bought this girl diamond earrings as if this were some sort of engagement. It's a date.
He's going to trade him back in, I guess. Once it up, but I think.
But he gives them to Watts at the end.
Yeah. So
what was his? What was his? Do you think he was planning to get them back?
Well, no, but I think actually we're looking at it as sensible adults when we'd probably. I'm not saying I did that, but I'm just saying when
you're right,
head over heels, and you make these decisions to do these things.
But that's why
you're right.
The argument didn't his argument should have been not that he knows what he's doing. I've got this handled, because he doesn't. Like, his argument to his dad should have been whatever his reasons for actually wanting to give her the earrings and spend the money on that instead. Because
no, you're right. But obviously, I'm trying to think of it as, but he's a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a kid, and he's just making the mistakes. He's making the mistakes kids make, and his dad's like the voice of reason. But when you're that age, you don't want to hear it. So, no, of course, ultimately, no, don't blow your savings on a pair of earrings for a girl you're not even going to end up with. She's not going to like you because you bought her earrings, and if she does, she's the wrong girl. But that's an adult talking. That's not a 17-year-old kid who's going to be like, shut up, leave me alone, get off my back. It's me against the world.
But he is 18, though. Like, what?
Is he? Is he 18?
Yeah, they say it sometimes.
They say it, do they?
He's 18, this is... Because his dad, he's because we see his dad really trying to, I want him to have a good business head, and the teachers are like, no, he's really into art, whatever. And he's like, yeah, well, he can do that in his side time or whatever. He's being logical, and I get that Keith probably is into more arts, but what's his get off your ass and go to college, Keith? What is your plan for your future? I just don't even an 18-year-old, you would think you're about to graduate pretty soon, and then what? What's your plan here?
No, you're absolutely right. But I guess this is a movie. I think I'm just trying to.
Yes.
I think, like I say, we're being sensible adults.
Thank you for bringing me back to earth.
We're being Keith's dad right now.
Yeah,
so we've all done stupid shit when we were kids, and I'm just like, that's real.
It is, I guess.
But
I don't know. I guess I didn't buy because I was more level
I wasn't.
When I was 17,
never bought someone diamond earrings either.
I never would have done that. I knew there was life for me after high school, and that I had to do something with my life.
You know what? Actually, I didn't.
Really?
I can remember when I was. Well, I don't know. Actually, by the time I was 18, I had a job. So, because we left school when we were 16.
Yeah.
So, you leave school. Well, I left school at 16 and did the first college course they'd let me do because I left school with no real qualifications, and a year later I had a job. So me ever being in a situation to buy diamond rings for the high school sweetheart was not really. But to sidetrack slightly, all the right moves. Tom Cruise, Lee Thompson. There you go.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway.
I feel like I haven't seen that.
No, that's 1983. So it's an early Cruise.
Oh,
role.
yeah. Very. Okay.
But yeah, so but to get back to it, I think, ultimately that was a stupid thing to do. But, he's in love and he's got his head in the clouds. He's a dreamer and he's just. Yeah,
true. I guess
he's
it's
not
just
smart, is he?
The dad
he's not doing.
Does it was a nice moment where the dad, he's like, I got this, Dad. I know what I'm doing, and the dad is like, okay. He backs off, but he doesn't have it. So that's why I'm like,
no, that's factual. You're not wrong, but I'm just
thinking,
but when I did stupid shit when I was a kid. So
what was I feel like this is a thing in movies too, where like he plans the most elaborate date. They have multiple locations. There's a driver. Watts plays they get this cool car and he buys the diamond earrings and it all leads up to this magical moment, sort of. But
and Watts is dressed as some sort of kinky chauffeur.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
She was really trying, because then there are a lot of moments in that last, like the date part, that I was a little confounded by. And first of all, why, if once he even knows that it's a joke, he goes through with this elaborate thing. Why does he do that? It was like a proposal.
It's a good question. And like I say, relatability and stuff. I'm just kind of like, I'm not even sure I was confident enough as a 17-year-old to even approach a girl who I felt that way out of my league. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he's not only done that, but got her to go out with him and has planned this elaborate evening in a museum and at a fancy restaurant, and he's brought diamond earrings, I think reality kind of goes out the window.
But they argue a few times. I guess he's supposed to, maybe in his head, he's like, I will convince her, I will make her fall in love with me, and it'll all work out. And then he only later realizes that the true love that he has was Watts all along.
Yeah.
But even during the date, they argue a few times, like at the fancy restaurant. And so it's sort of like, do they both know? Like the way that she is like, well, let's just end this right now. He's like, no. And then later at the amphitheater, he finds out she didn't know about the setup to go to Hardy Jens's house, like the party later. And then they argue about both of them using each other. But then he's like guilts her into taking the earrings by saying, basically, I've worked, everything I have is right here. And you shouldn't have to borrow earrings. You're special enough to own them.
Yeah, that's a bit hard to swallow. All that I get that. You're right. But at this point in the movie, I guess you're just off to the races with the whole idea of the plan. And I'm just like, I'm sort of thinking, memory of the end, I wasn't sure about, but I did just think that was going to end with him and Craig Sheffer out on the lawn. He gets beat up for her love.
Yeah.
And wins, and then decides, I don't need you anyway, and goes off with Watts. But, it just sort of ends with this kind of like, I'm going to let you guys do what you want to me. I don't care. And you're all going to look worse than me. So, and then nothing happens, really. I just felt a little bit.
Yeah, it was, because even when the quote unquote like thug kids come in and you're like, oh, they saved the day and they're going to kick their asses. But then they don't even. It was just like their mere presence was intimidating enough to the, rich, tough guy, but deep down, he's not a tough guy. Party, and he didn't want his house to get ruined, I suppose. And so, it was that bit was a little anticlimactic. And then they go outside, and was it in that moment? Did Amanda see? Because she accepted the earrings, and then they go to the party, and they have this moment where he stands up for her, and then they go to leave. So in the moment when they go to leave, is she still like liking him, like thinking they're going to date? And then in that split second where she sees that he sees Watts in the way that Watts sees, and she sees their connection.
Yeah, I
and that's when she gives the earrings back.
Yeah, I kind of felt like when they left the party and they're outside, with the craziness that's gone on, she'd just forgotten about Watts. But when she saw Watts and what the drama that's just happened, she's probably just thinking, you should not like you shouldn't be with me because I'm a bad person. Like she suddenly becomes enlightened, and I think she just did think like, you're already in love, really, and you're the only one who doesn't know it.
Yes,
but it's not like she's turning over a new leaf because she never was the horrible girl that.
No, I guess her arc was that she had historically just like always dated the pop, like she was the thing to have on your arm. Yeah. And she realizes now that she should be alone for a while and like just be who she is.
Yeah, she doesn't need to go out of the frying pan into the fire. She's like jumping from one guy to the next. That's not who she is. She's an individual. She's a clever girl, and the only one who, I guess the only one who's not clever is Keith, because even she, because she's like, well, I can see who you
but
really
then he
want.
sees it, like we see his like memories of their practice kiss, which was supposed to be super hot and it wasn't at all. Like that was an awkward, not good kiss. But they're like he's practicing kissing with Watts, and then he realizes that she's the one for that. Felt kind of rushed, like the ending, like him.
Yeah,
and then what doesn't align too. It was all good. Like I'm poking holes in this because there were things that kind of don't mesh or don't align. Like, you knew you were going to get those earrings all along, he says to Watts. Like, what? And then she's like, I hoped, or I had a feeling. And then it was like, no, that doesn't track with what we were shown in the movie at all.
Yeah, well, I guess like you say, they've kind of like, right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I did think didn't she say, like, yeah, I think she does say, yeah, I really wanted those earrings anyway. And she's all happy.
Yeah.
That's a little bit, again, that goes against who she has tried to represent herself as it throughout the whole movie. She didn't need no one. She didn't need nothing from anyone, And then suddenly, I want the diamond earrings. You're like, hang on a minute, that's not who she is.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I guess, but I guess at that point, let's wrap this movie up. That was just a little moment. But yeah, so... yeah, that's a fun movie, and that's a nice movie, and so it hasn't always got to be so dark. I watch a lot of dark things.
Yes. There was a lot of like class was ever present, like the differences in class was really present in this. And you said something about him, like he wasn't really wrong side of the tracks, but I think he was meant to be like the kid from the wrong side of the tracks, sort of. Like the dialogue tells us that he's working class, like he works at, he'd be the first to go to his family, or first in his family to go to college. Like he works at the gas station. Like we see, but then when we see his house, it's like a very nice, well manicured lawn and house. Like in California, that's like a $2 million house, probably. So
I think, was it something like the younger sister says something like, oh, he didn't want you to see where he lives. And you're like,
well, she's trying to play it up like to the rich kids. Oh, he's just being modest. Like, we have homes in XYZ.
Oh, in Paris. And
yeah.
I think there is that. Yeah, because he is that sort of, he gets his hands dirty and he's a working class kid. And that is that very thing of, she's too good for me. I always think like, when you say something like, oh, she's too good for me, and but in a movie, someone will say, no one's too good for you, and you're like, no, some people are too good for you.
Yeah,
we all know that. All know that some people are out of your league, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one's out of your league. You can be whoever you want. And you can't.
No, you can't. No, you cannot.
In the movies,
yeah,
but really, And that's why there's that separation, and that's why movies like this I can only like to a point, because I'm like, this isn't. You're trying to represent a bit of reality, but this isn't how. In reality, she wouldn't have even said yes to a date with you, and if she did, you'd have got the shit kicked out of you by that guy.
Yeah,
that's the reality.
For sure.
He creates these little. John Hughes is very good at creating these little. They're not fantasy worlds, but they're kind of happy. They're still happily ever after.
Yeah.
Movies. I mean, that's
and we kind of wanted that was the better choice. Like he should have been with Watts, and so they ended
absolutely,
with
absolutely. But Watts in reality would have said, "You had your chance. See you later."
Mm-hmm.
But that's only you've got to think as well. It's only a year later, I think, that we got Heathers, which with Winona Ryder.
That was like 8. Yeah, you're right.
That's like 88. I think.
Yeah. You're
but
right.
They're such a world apart from. I mean, it's not. I mean, that's commenting on the John Hughes era, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then that would have been written while, who knows when Heathers was actually written. That was written probably at the same time as these John Hughes movies.
You're right. This was like the latter end of the heyday of this kind of movie, because Can't Buy Me Love was still in this vein, like the same vein as Some Kind of Wonderful. And I think that was 87 as well. And then Heathers was like completely different. It was sort of like the late 80s seemed more similar to the early 90s. So 87 might be just that like mid 80s cutoff.
Yeah, that's where there's a sort of a cutoff, like and then I mean realistically, Heathers is strangely more realistic than
that's a really good point. Yeah. I mean, aside from the murder and like stuff, but yeah.
I mean, I would say I'm more Christian Slater than Eric Stoltz, but I'm certainly not like Christian Slater. I didn't bomb
blow up a school.
I didn't. Yeah. No, but I was probably a little bit more that way than the Mr. sort of everything's going to work out for me no matter what. But if you watch the two. The Heathers and whatever John Hughes movie, that's kind of like a flip side of that coin.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
You've still got the girl who's trying to fit in with all the other girls, and then the guy comes along and he's like, let's kill them all.
Yeah, it's still like the one doesn't fit in the group, but then they've got their own little revenge.
The girls have got their own code and their own little slang words, and and you've got all this sort of angst, the angsty high school stuff, and then this psychopath shows up. That's more my
I love Heathers too. That's great.
That's a good one.
But regarding like the critics of Some Kind of Wonderful, I guess, and this totally tracks with our conversation that we've been having this whole time, is that a lot of critics actually dismissed the movie as being just like a clone of Pretty in Pink, but Roger Ebert gave this movie 3 stars, saying, Some Kind of Wonderful is yet another film in which Hughes and his team show a special ability to make an entertaining movie about teenagers, which is also about life, about insecurity, about rejection, about learning to grow. I sometimes have the peculiar feeling that the kids in Hughes movies are more grown up than the adults in most of the other ones. That's what Ebert says.
And he's right, I think. There you go. He just said it in 5 seconds. That took me an hour. But
we have to say something, not just read reviews.
Well, no, but he's usually on the money. And I mean, I guess. See, this is what I said earlier about how we watch these movies and see ourselves in them. We're looking for answers that we can't ask people for because we're too embarrassed or anxious about or whatever. John Hughes is a very smart guy. So if you're looking for answers as a kid, as a teenager, you're probably better watching a John Hughes movie than asking your best friend.
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's probably gone through it.
Yeah.
Your friend's as clueless as you are.
They don't know anything. Yeah.
No. So I always think that about movies. Like, you can probably find the answer you need in a movie more than you can from the person stood next to you, because these guys are a lot cleverer because they write for a living.
Yes.
So they've thought about
Smarter.
these things.
Good point.
Do you know what I mean? So I always sort of sometimes think, like, when I used to watch these movies like Breakfast Club and you name it, the answer is probably right there for whatever
definitely in some of them, like Breakfast Club, like there are a number that are why Hughes is famous. And then there are other times where I think he just got lazy and just threw a bunch of tropes in a hat and was like, bing, bang, boom, here's
no
a
one's
movie.
perfect.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's a job to everyone.
Yeah.
This is an example of him really, I think he showed up for.
Yeah, I do as well. And I think when I watched this the other night, I was like, this is probably of that ilk of film.
Mm-hmm.
This is a pretty smart one.
It is.
Intellectual. It's quite intellectual. It's quite. It's a familiar kind of story, but the characters are a lot smarter than you get in a lot of them sort of films.
Very well developed characters. I agree, and to the point of it being more intellectual, I feel like I'm too stupid because like things go over my head. For example, the Amanda Jones being from the Rolling Stones. Well, in a similar way. Well, I didn't. So also Watts. So JohnHughes being a big like rock and roll fan, Watts is named after Charlie Watts, like the character Watts, drummer,
the drummer from the Rolling Stones,
and Keith Richards. That was on purpose. Those names were on purpose.
Right. See, that went right over my head, but I didn't.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. But yeah, what's the Craig Sheff's name? Hardy. See, like the moment at the gas station where it's really obnoxious to Keith, right? Now, he's doing that to impress Amanda. But that shows the flaw in him. That's not what impresses a girl. That's kind of like when they say, that's kind of like that thing of I read it somewhere where it was like something to do with women warning signs, like red flags.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you go out on a date with a guy, if he's horrible to the waiter, get out of there.
100%.
That's that same.
Yes,
that's that same sort of thing. So
Well, I actually don't think he was doing it. I think his character is just so egotistical that he gets off on using his class, his status to make Keith feel small. And he knows that Keith has been looking at his girlfriend. And so he's like, trying to like being like a gorilla of sorts. And he even says, don't look at my property. And so we're like, oh, we really hate this guy.
I mean, look, there's a difference between making yourself look big and making other people look small.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with making yourself look big and stand,
but not at the expense of others. Yes.
If it's at the expense of others, that's make yourself look big by all means, but don't make other people look small. And that's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all revealed, isn't it? At the end, he's a very small guy.
He is you're right. You're right. Coming full circle. Like again, like a lot of the things that happen are unexpected, despite this being a formulaic movie.
Exactly.
So that's interesting. Did you know that Howard Deutsch, the director, and Leah Thompson fell in love while filming this movie, and they have been married ever since?
I had no idea.
Yeah, they got married in 1989, I guess. And I guess their daughters are actresses, Madeline and Zoe Deutsch. I don't know who they are, but yeah.
No, I didn't know. Well, no, never thought to look. Interesting.
Well, since I do this podcast, I do a little bit of research on these people.
Well, no, I mean, I expect nothing less. I'm just a schlub who, watched this movie after. Oh, I'm old. When I think back
long time. I know. I'm like, can I do math? No.
I think it was around about when it came out. I saw it. Because this would have been straight to video in the UK, I would have thought. So
a few years later or the same time?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I would have seen it roughly at the time it came out, but that would have gone straight to video here. I distinctly remember seeing it on the video shelves in the store. I used to live in the video shops.
Yeah.
You know,
no, it was the best time.
That was the formative time of getting into movies at my age. That was like the video store was, you know, you'd go to the video store knowing
spend like an hour.
You'd know full well what you were going to rent, but you'd still stick around and just look at everything and read every box, and you know,
because you might get a second movie, right? You'd get what you went there for, and then you might get a second movie.
Yeah. I always remember, you know, my video store. If you rented a new release, you could rent 2 older releases for like
$1 or something.
And
that's
why I guess, and that's why back then we used to rewatch so many things.
Good. Well, and things were on TV too. Like we didn't have streaming, so when the TV was on, you only had so many channels.
And we only had 3.
Oh wow!
I think by the time I was 15, we had 4. But that's the thing, isn't it? Because like before that, I mean, there was a time when you only got to see a movie if you went to the cinema or whether it was on TV, and you never knew what was going to show up on TV. So, you know, the video age was. You know, forget now being able to buy Blu-rays and 4Ks and having 60-inch TV sets. You know, at that particular time, you know, a video shop opened and you could, oh my, this is huge. It
was an amazing time.
Yeah,
I mean, I was a kid in '87, and that's why, too, speaking of nostalgia of the video store, I about died, you guys, when we first meet Candace Cameron's character. She's playing with Garbage Pail Kids cards. Do you remember those, Steve? Or were you
I sort of. No, I can remember those. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was like a huge nostalgia hit for me watching. I was like, oh God.
Well, you know, nostalgia is not a dirty word. You know, there's nothing wrong with, you know, like say nostalgia is not what it used to be. Some people say, but you know, it's like, you know, oh, you know, I like this film for nostalgic reasons. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of films I love that, you know, certainly films that probably don't live up to the current standard, but they mean a lot to us, and that's why we still talk about them, because they have a massive impact on you. And this is what, going back to what I said earlier, at that particular age we were probably subconsciously learning through the films. You know, yeah, I'm like that guy, or I want to be like that girl, or whoever we were, you know, just like.
But there are lessons, like
they're all in there. Yeah. They're all in there, you know. And there's a lot in this movie. I think you could really take away.
There is
knowledge.
There really is.
You know. So yeah, there you go. Great movie.
Indeed. One more bit of trivia before we head out regarding the casting of Amanda. Molly Ringwald, you know, Hughes and Molly had a very close relationship for a while. She was offered the role of another redhead, offered the role of Amanda, but refused it, ending her successful relationship with JohnHughes. I think that would have been a huge mistake, because it's just that's literally just redoing Pretty in Pink. If he had cast Ringwald.
And obviously, I guess the typecasting thing, she was probably, you know.
Oh, for sure.
She doesn't say high school princess to me.
Even though I always thought that too. I talked about it on the Breakfast Club episode. She doesn't have that look about her. Yeah. But maybe that's why it was interesting. Like she's not traditionally beautiful either.
Right, yeah.
Whereas Leah Thompson is.
You know, she can sell character and everything, but if you were, you know, the high school princess, she hasn't not traditionally got that look.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And so I think it's worked for the best.
100%.
At that particular time, and I think Leah Thompson was pretty a name at that point.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah. Back to the Future.
Big time.
You know, and various other things she had going on, and Howard the Duck, obviously.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I think that worked out for the best.
Indeed.
That certainly did for Leah Thompson because she got married to the director.
Yeah. And they're still married. I don't know why I'm always like gleefully happy when I hear that people are still married for some, because it's so rare.
That's a goddamn miracle.
Yeah.
Well, the statistics aren't.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, that's that thing, isn't it? The statistics of, if you equate the statistics of marriage to jumping out of doing a parachute jump, you would never leave the plane.
No, it is wild to me that people still do it. You know?
Yes, and all that. Some people love that, but I think marriage is tricky, apparently.
Yeah.
I dodged that bullet.
Me too. Me too. Well, on that note,
I always say that to a married couple as well. That always lands like a lead balloon. I say, no, I dodged that bullet. And they just look at each other and think,
most of the time, if you would say something like, most people would probably be like, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they might now, but in my experience, that's gone down like a lead balloon.
Well, that does take us to the end of our look at some kind of wonderful, well, it does have its flaws. I think it's easily one of the most underrated John Hughes teen movies. And honestly, it outperforms Pretty in Pink in every way. Huge thanks to my guest, Steve Smith, for joining me on this trip back to 1987. Tell us where we can hear more from you, Steve.
Well, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, wherever, Men of Action podcast and the Dropping a Bruce podcast, which land every month, and we have a great time, and we want you to check us out because we're pretty sure you'll have a good time as well. So that's where you can find us.
Great. And before I sign off, if you're enjoying RetroMade, which I hope you are, consider leaving a rating, a review, or even dropping a small tip through the Captivate support link in the show notes. It's a huge help in keeping the nostalgia rolling. Until next time, be kind. Rewind.